stage is now set. Super Bowl 56 in Inglewood, California, SoFi Stadium. The Los Angeles Rams are staying home and defending their home turf against the visiting Cincinnati Bengals. Super Bowl 56, February 13th, 13 days from today. Matthew Stafford overdue 13 years in the league. Joe Burrow, just his second season, making it to the big stage. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Time2Football. Glad you guys are able to join us. My name is Hassan Khan, the host of this channel that we like to call Time2Football, Time to Super Bowl, as we are 13 days away from the big game. And there's going to be lots of talk from the media leading up to this game. Talks about Matthew Stafford, how the first 12 years of his career was kind of wasted in Detroit. 0-3 in the postseason, not really getting anything done. And then really moving forward to the LA Rams, actually 1 year and 1 day ago, being traded to the LA Rams. And now he finds himself in Super Bowl 56. For Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, can you believe that there was actually debate from a couple years ago from, hey, should we take Joe Burrow number one overall? Should we trade down? Or should we stick with Andy Dalton? That was actually a debate for the Cincinnati Bengals and something that they had to think about. But thank you, Cliff Kingsbury, for being the first one to break the mold of having a quarterback of the future on your team that you could start for that season and having the number one overall pick and still choosing the number one overall pick at quarterback. It worked out with Kyler Murray as opposed to Josh Rosen, and now it's worked out with Joe Burrow as opposed to Andy Dalton. Man, what an exciting postseason. I have to say, wild card weekend, yeah, you had some games that were kind of blowouts. Divisional round, I mean, we all know what happened there. It was the best divisional round in NFL history. And then last night's games did not disappoint at all between the LA Rams and the 49ers coming down to 3 points. And then the Bengals and the Chiefs coming down to 3 points as well. I encourage you guys to join us during the live stream if you guys are streaming this on YouTube. We've got Melee actually joining us right now. Bengals and Rams in the Super Bowl. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's going to be a good one. We've also got some people joining us on the podcast app on iTunes. And I encourage you guys to head over to our YouTube channel, subscribe to us on there because we're going to be coming out with much more content throughout the week, throughout the next couple of weeks, as a matter of fact, as we get prepped for Super Bowl coverage. What we want to do on this show is we want to talk about NFL news and notes to kind of kick things off. And then we're going to be transitioning over to some takeaways that we can learn or that we learned from this past weekend of NFL action, as well as the NFL news that's been going around the league as well. There's a lot to keep up with and touch base with this past weekend. And then we're also going to be talking about, some questions that you guys may have about certain quarterbacks retiring, but then also not retiring. We're going to have a whole segment dedicated to Tom Brady and the reports coming out of him potentially retiring, but then not so fast, not so fast. We're going to explain that in just a second, in case you guys have been living under a rock for the last few days. Let's first let you guys know that you guys can call into the show via Discord. So if you guys haven't joined our Discord server already, I encourage you guys to do so. I'm not that interactive in it as I hope to be, but throughout the offseason, I'm going to be a lot more interactive. Just right now, it's a lot to keep up with throughout the season, but join that Discord server. But if you want to call in live during the show, if you guys are live streaming this, wait in that waiting room channel under voice channels. That waiting room channel, just wait under there. And in the next 20, 25 minutes or so, I'm going to be pulling some people. I'm going to be getting them live on air. So up to you guys if you want to watch this episode. And then in the next 20 minutes, you want to head over to our Discord server, go ahead and do that. I'll be reminding you guys throughout the duration of the show when you guys can do that, when it's a good time to call. But let's transition now into NFL news and notes, and there's a lot to go about. Where's the NFL news and notes go? And I mean, hold on, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl a little bit more in just a bit, but let's debrief the news and the craziness of Friday after we went off air Saturday, oh my gosh, Saturday was quite the day. And then Sunday, yesterday as well. So first, let's start off with Tom Brady. Dude, what's going on? Hey, Tom, what's happening? Is it over or is it not? So if you guys haven't heard, Tom Brady, there's been reports out there saying that Tom Brady has retired from the NFL. Now, this happened for like an hour. Everybody had a pity party. Everybody had like their, remember this day, remember that day. It was kind of like a funeral kind of deal, where you just remember the life of Tom Brady. And then an hour later, Don Yee, Tom Brady's agent, came out and said the inaccuracies, the accuracy, we're not going to touch base on that, which, first of all, that says he may retire, he may not retire. So I'm not confirming nor denying. Whenever someone says that, that means more than likely they're probably going to retire. But he says this is not, Tom Brady did not retire. He called Jason Light, the general manager, Bruce Arians. They all talked it out. Bruce Arians himself said, to my knowledge, he's not retiring. Tom Brady Sr., Tom Brady's dad, tells a local news station, no, he's not retiring. I don't know. So we're going to have a whole segment dedicated to that, talking about Tom Brady and the reaction to that. And if it actually were to happen, what should the Tampa Bay Buccaneers be doing? So that's going to be later on in the show. But just that was the news that came out. On Saturday, Tom Brady retired. And then he came out and said he didn't retire. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that later on in the show. Melee is asking about injuries that's going on with some players. So Tyler Higbee suffered an injury. He was taken out of the game, but then his backup, golly, I can't think off the top of my head. Number 86, he was great. He was great, and I would think he was a little bit more productive than Tyler Higbee. Than Higbee has been this whole season. So, the status of Higbee, I think he should be fine. We're going to get a little bit more details on that later on throughout the week, but I think Tyler Higbee should be fine for Super Bowl 56. However, someone that should not be fine, that is CJ Uzomah, unfortunately suffering a knee injury, was taken out of the game. He was carted off the field, looked emotional during it, and then he came back out on crutches. So I highly doubt. We haven't heard an official update yet, but I highly doubt that CJ Uzomah will be available for Super Bowl 56. Drew Sample would be the tight end to step in as the number one tight end for the Cincinnati Bengals. That's probably the biggest news. Deebo Samuel had a little bit of a hit, but he got up, he walked off, he was fine. So that seems like the biggest news. And then, on top of that, Deebo Samuel, it doesn't really matter because the 49ers have been eliminated. But the Rams and the Bengals, that's probably the biggest injuries for the tight ends, and just monitor the status. Let's see what happens throughout the week. Some head coaching news that we have for you guys. Okay, so let's recap first. Friday. Let's just go in order about the craziness that happened after we went off air. Probably 30 minutes we went off air. The Giants officially hired Brian Daboll to be their next head coach. He's going to be leading the way, and he's going to be taking over as the head coach of the New York Football Giants, the 19th head coach in franchise history, I want to say. So that's a big honor for Brian Daboll. Buffalo Bills lose their offensive coordinator. Now, Ken Dorsey is a guy that the Bills have talked about being an offensive coordinator of the Giants. Brian Daboll actually wants him to be the offensive coordinator of the Giants as well. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a little bit of a battle between who's going to be the offensive coordinator of the Giants, who's going to be the offensive coordinator of the Bills. Dorsey's a candidate for both of them, but just keep that in mind. Okay, Sunday. If Tom Brady's announcement was not enough to take away from the attention of the NFC and AFC Championship, on Sunday, the actual day, we had a little bit of a coaching hire that happened in Las Vegas. Josh McDaniels has been hired as the Las Vegas Raiders' next head coach. We're going to give our opinion on that in just a bit when we talk about 10 things that we learned from this past weekend. But McDaniels, the offensive coordinator of the New England Patriots, who's had some head coaching experience in the past with the Denver Broncos about a decade ago, has stepped in as the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. We're going to be talking about that in just a bit. But Patriots executive Dave Ziegler, don't know how to pronounce that, but he has been promoted as general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders, taking over for Mike Mayock. So the Patriots executive probably has a say in who's going to be the head coach. The Chicago Bears have conducted multiple interviews for their offensive coordinator position, and after a lengthy process, they have finally found their guy. That is Luke Getsy, the quarterback's coach of the Green Bay Packers, as the offensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears. Fantastic hire. Fantastic hire. Getsy has done a very good job with the Green Bay Packers, and now he's going to be transitioning into a role where he's going to have a little bit more weight on his shoulders. That you're not dealing with Aaron Rodgers, but you're dealing with Justin Fields now, kind of a project. Let's see if Getsy can cause any sort of positive development in Justin Fields going into his sophomore campaign. The Indianapolis Colts. Is this the Colts? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I just wanted to go ahead and make sure I was reading that correctly. Yeah, the Colts are interviewing Jim Schwartz, the Titans' senior defensive assistant, as their defensive coordinator. Now, Jim Schwartz has experience being the defensive coordinator of multiple teams. He has been the defensive coordinator most recently for the Philadelphia Eagles. He has a head coaching track as well in the Detroit Lions, early 2010s, I want to say. That era, he was a head coach of the Detroit Lions, let go in favor of Jim Caldwell. But Jim Schwartz is on the radar for the Indianapolis Colts as their defensive coordinator. The Minnesota Vikings. You want to talk about Jim Schwartz? How about a guy that caused a lot of trouble and havoc and anger inside of Jim Schwartz post-game when he was the head coach of the Detroit Lions by not shaking his hand properly? That is Jim Harbaugh. Yeah, that's a crazy story. You can look it up on YouTube. When the 49ers beat the Lions, Harbaugh was excited and just kind of was not professional, according to Jim Schwartz, and shaking his hand, and he got upset. But Jim Harbaugh is now in the talks of an NFL head coaching job yet again. I feel like we do this every year. We do this every year. Michigan, are they going to keep him? Are they not going to keep him? Which, by the way, college football is so freaking weird. So freaking weird. Hey, you only won 10 games this season. Sir, there was a 12-game season. Yeah, you lost 2 games. You're fired. What's up with college football? What's up with that? What's up with that? Can't lose 2 games? Can't have 2 mistakes? What's up with that? Jim Harbaugh has been talked about getting fired from Michigan. And then finally this year, they finally made the Final Four and made the playoffs. So Jim Harbaugh is sticking with Michigan. However, the NFL head coaching search will continue with Jim Harbaugh, and the conversations will continue with Jim Harbaugh as he is being pursued by the Minnesota Vikings. They are scheduled to interview him this week. Patrick Graham, the Giants defensive coordinator, is also in the runnings for the Minnesota Vikings position, as he just completed his head coaching interview with them. Now, Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator of the Giants, he is also being talked about being retained by Brian Daboll as a defensive coordinator. He does a very good job. I know that the Giants defense at times, they can give us some big plays, but they've actually not that bad for the last couple of years. And Patrick Graham has been a very good reason for that. So the Minnesota Vikings are pursuing him, but Brian Daboll wants to keep him in New York. The Houston Texans have interest in Josh McCown, the former quarterback in the NFL who's played for probably 1,500 teams, now can add a Houston Texans jersey on the list of jerseys to buy his daughter so that she can wear on whatever sports day of high school it is. Josh McCown, not going to be hired as the quarterback of the Houston Texans, but instead could be in the runnings to be the head coach of the Houston Texans. I've seen a lot of things on the subreddit of the Houston Texans about how the Houston Texans fans are actually upset about Josh McCown getting interest in this. He may have some coaching experience at the high school level, but going from that all the way to a head coaching position with the Houston Texans is a little bit far-fetched for a lot of people in their thinking. I'm not knocking on Josh McCown's. I'm not knocking down on his mindset, on his football knowledge. He might be a very good candidate. He might be the best person for the job. We're not in these interviews. I don't know. But for a guy to have not even offensive coordinator experience or even any sort of quality control experience in the NFL and going straight into a head coaching position for the Houston Texans, I think it's jumping a gun just a bit, just a tad bit. But if he does a very good job and he becomes a head coach at the Texans, then, oh well, I guess I was wrong. But the Houston Texans are interested in Josh McCown. Not doubting him, just saying. The Jacksonville Jaguars have hired a rich, or not hired. Sorry, no, don't get any news out there or anything like that. But the Jacksonville Jaguars have interest in hiring Rich Bisaccia. They are conducting an interview with him, seeing if he's the right fit or not after not being retained by the Las Vegas Raiders, which we're going to get into. We're going to get into Josh McDaniels and Rich Bisaccia in just a bit. And then finally, as far as the front office goes and the head coaching interviews go, the Steelers general manager Kevin Colbert has announced that he is stepping down after the 2022 NFL draft. People are thinking like, why would you want to wait till the draft? I mean, this has no relevance to you. You're going to be retiring. Why are you sticking around? Like, you could just completely mess up the draft and it does not matter for you. Well, I don't know. His contract runs out at the end of the draft. I don't know. I don't know how it works. I don't know why he's sticking around for the NFL draft, but he is. And that is your head coaching and front office news. Now, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, I mean, we did not talk about him at all. I don't know why I'm saying speaking of. Let's just talk about Aaron Rodgers for just a bit. He has said that there is optimism, well, according to Ian Rappaport of NFL.com, that there is optimism that Aaron Rodgers could stay in Green Bay. Ian Rappaport also reported that a trade, if it were to happen, the most likely place would be for Aaron Rodgers to go to Denver. That would be the most likely trade destination for Aaron Rodgers and for the Packers to work out a deal with their former offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett. Rodgers, however, feels like that there is optimism, according to Ian Rappaport, that he could stay in Green Bay. Keep that in mind. And finally, Damon Arnett cannot stay out of trouble. He was the former first-round pick of the Las Vegas Raiders. He was released earlier this season after a video came out that he was threatening a valet worker with a gun in his position as well. Has been released by the Kansas City Chiefs after drug charges, gun charges, and assault charges. So Damon Arnett, I hope he gets the help that he needs and he can stay out of trouble, and I hope that he does continue his NFL career after he fixes whatever is going on with all of his issues. And that is your NFL news and notes for today. You guys are popping into the live chat talking about the fallout of the Rams and the Bengals. Man, it is a great day to be a Rams fan. Hashtag Rams House. This is from Jordani and Poppy joining us in the chat as well. We've got Kicks Plug making a return into the live chat as well, saying, how about those Bengals? I still can't believe Stafford is in the Super Bowl. Insane. Yes, sir. It's crazy to think that after 13 years, Stafford has finally made his return into the NFL postseason. But yeah, the stage has now been set, ladies and gentlemen, between the LA Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals for Super Bowl 56. Should be a very, very good one that we've got going on in 13 days in SoFi Stadium. Matthew Stafford, first Super Bowl in his career after 13 long years with the Detroit Lions and this past season with the LA Rams. For Joe Burrow, is a little bit ahead of the game. 2 years is all it took for Joe Burrow and company to make the Super Bowl. But for the city of Cincinnati that is starving for a Super Bowl championship, can this game be the day that they win that title? Who Dey versus, what's the LA Rams logo or the slogan? Rams Pride, One Pride. No, that's Detroit Lions. I don't know. Should be a good one. Very, very, very good one. All right, now let's take a moment to talk about some takeaways that we learned from this past weekend. But before we get into that, again, you guys are now tuning into the live show. You don't have to hang out now, but I just want to go ahead and remind you guys that in the next 10, 15 minutes or so, we're going to have a segment where we take some calls from some viewers, and you guys can chat with us live on air. So just keep that in mind. Now let's talk about some takeaways that we learned from this past weekend of football. And I have 7 takeaways that I want to talk about. So not 10 like usual, but just 7 I'm going to go ahead and touch base on. We want to get to the Rams. We want to get to the Bengals in just a bit. But first, let's talk about the San Francisco 49ers. After the season has ended, takeaway number 1, it's time to admit that the 49ers are a great team. And this is what I mean by this. I think there's a lot of people, 50% of the NFL fans believe, yes, the 49ers are a very good team. Whereas the other 50% are like, no, just look at their quarterback. And you can't just really look at a team's quarterback and say that this team sucks. It doesn't work like that. Like the 49ers have gotten this far because of great coaching and the talent around their team. It does not matter if Jimmy Garoppolo is not the next Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't matter. This team, you have to admit, is very, very good because they do a very good job in following the Patriot way, where they take the players that they have and they look at their strengths and they're like, how can we focus on those strengths and how can we win games based off of that and the positives and not really focus on the negatives. The negatives, whatever a team or a player is bad at, that's going to clean up themselves. They're going to work on that. They're going to get naturally fix their own mistakes. Like we're not going to even focus on that. We're not going to touch on that. Why spend time on that when this guy right here can do amazing things in the pass game, can do amazing things in the run game, can do amazing things in the secondary? Let's focus on that. And that's how far, or that's the reason why the 49ers have gotten this far in the postseason. So, takeaway number one, they lost, but admit it. The 49ers are a great team and were Super Bowl worthy. The Rams, better team, but if the 49ers made it, you had to admit, they're a great team. Takeaway number two, we just saw Jimmy Garoppolo's last throw as a 49er. I've gotten this question about, okay, well, if Jimmy Garoppolo goes this far, if he goes that far, if he makes it the Super Bowl, if he wins the Super Bowl, is Jimmy Garoppolo going to be staying with the 49ers? The answer to every single scenario is no. The 49ers have made up their mind. The 49ers have a game plan. The 49ers are thinking 1-2 years at a time every single season ahead in the future. And Jimmy Garoppolo is not in those plans, has never been in those plans. Kyle Shanahan has come out and said preseason when they drafted Trey Lance that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be on the trade market. They're going to move forward with Trey Lance. He has admitted it himself. It's time to move on with Jimmy Garoppolo. Whatever your opinions are, if he's a good quarterback, if he's not a good quarterback, Kyle Shanahan feels otherwise, and he feels like he has a future in Trey Lance. Trey Lance is going to be the future of the San Francisco 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo on the trade market for some quarterback-needy teams. We'd love to hear your thoughts, by the way, if you feel like Jimmy Garoppolo should be staying with the 49ers or not. Takeaway number three, the LA Rams, they have talent, but the Bengals have talent and momentum. This is what differentiates the LA Rams from the Cincinnati Bengals. The Rams probably have the better talent, but the Bengals have the more momentum. How many times have we seen the Rams? Oh man, they're not going to win this game. They almost lost this game against the Buccaneers, almost lost this game against the 49ers. They were on this 2-game, 3-game losing streak at one point. Then they turned it around. They had a little bit of momentum, but it didn't really favor into the postseason. It didn't really carry themselves into the postseason. Whereas the Cincinnati Bengals, it seemed like from the last 2-3 games of the regular season moving forward into the postseason, they had nothing but momentum on their side. They are red hot. The hottest team in football right now. So the Bengals, maybe they're not as talented as the LA Rams, but they definitely have much more momentum, and that could be the reason why they could be an underdog upset in Super Bowl 56. Takeaway number 4. This Super Bowl this season, I should say, for the LA Rams, it is Super Bowl or bust for the LA Rams. Now, for next season in 2022, if they lose the Super Bowl, can they recover and make the Super Bowl again? Potentially, yes. You've got some things to work out with cap space and things of that nature, extending some players to some contracts. However, in 2023, if you don't win the Super Bowl after 2022, which 2021 is your best shot, so you might as well just win it right now. But if you don't win it in the next 2 years, your window, I'm going to say it's closed, and you're not going to get back into that window for the next few years. And here's why. Sean McVay, Les Snead, they have all traded draft picks like it's absolutely nothing. F those draft picks. We're going to get those players that we need, the talent on this team, to win a Super Bowl, and we're doing it this season. This is how he's operated ever since he came into town. Sean McVay does not care about cap space, does not care about draft picks. Les Snead as well. They both mesh. They both are in favor of this. Let's go ahead and win a Super Bowl this year. And if they don't win against the hottest team in football in the Cincinnati Bengals, it's a bust. This season has become a complete bust. For the future, you have Matthew Stafford. You're going to have to re-sign some players, and you could have a chance in 2022. But again, that window is going to keep on closing and closing and closing. They don't have a first-round pick. They don't have a second-round pick. The earliest that they pick is in the third round, and we saw what happened with Bill O'Brien and the Houston Texans. When they traded away draft picks, they traded away players. They didn't really care about anything else except trying to bring in the right players to win a Super Bowl. Those draft picks, it haunted them. Where the third round was the earliest pick that they had this past draft. And we saw the Houston Texans and how much animosity the Texans fans had towards that franchise because of the lackluster season that they had this year because of the poor rebuilding that they had. So this season is Super Bowl or bust for the LA Rams. Takeaway number 5 from this past weekend. This was a reality check for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Is he retired? Is he not retired? I don't know. But this weekend helped the Bucs realize, like, oh, shoot. All right, well, we are a big believer in Blaine Gabbert. Believe it or not, they really do believe that Gabbert could step in to be a good bridge quarterback until they get their quarterback of the future. But this kind of helped us realize, maybe we should start preparing for the future. I know we tried to do that last year with Kyle Trask. It didn't really work out in preseason. He didn't really look the best. But maybe we have something in Kyle Trask. Regardless of if it's Gabbert, if it's Trask, if it's Brady, whoever's playing in 2022, this was a reality check for the Bucs. Like, hey, our window is closing to make another Super Bowl run, to win a Super Bowl. If we have Brady, sure, we can go ahead and try to win another one. If we don't, we got to start prepping for the future right now. Otherwise, it's going to be too late for those players that came onto the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that signed those contracts because of Tom Brady signing with the team. The window is closing for the Bucs. They have to start looking at the future. The next takeaway. Here I am, another week later, still saying that overtime rules need to change. I don't care if the Chiefs won or didn't win. If they won from the coin toss, you would have a lot more chatter about those overtime rules saying, like, this is 2 weeks in a row that the Chiefs have won the coin toss and have won on the opening drive without giving the opposing team a chance. Now, that didn't happen, so the chatter kind of went down. But still, here I am, louder than ever, saying that the overtime rules still need to change. It is still flawed. What is wrong, at least in the postseason? Postseason, that is all I am asking for. And giving both teams a shot at having the ball and winning in overtime. What is wrong with that? What's wrong with that? In the postseason, since the postseason rules have changed to where, okay, if you score a touchdown, you win the game, field goal, the other team has a shot. The team that has won the coin toss, has scored 7 times in the opening drive. 7 out of 10 times in the opening drive and won the game. So teams that have won the coin toss are 10-2, and 7 out of those 10 times was on the first possession of the game, of overtime. They won. That needs to change. And it's because the competition gets stiffer, because you got better quarterbacks, you got a better offense that you got to face. So it's just unfair that a coin toss has to determine it's Chiefs offense versus Bengals defense. It's Bengals offense versus Chiefs defense. Why not just Chiefs offense, defense, special teams versus Bengals offense, defense, special teams? Why not? Why not? And then the last takeaway. The Las Vegas Raiders should have hired Rich Bisaccia. I stand by this. Going 7-5 as an interim head coach, making the postseason. Bisaccia, in a season where John Gruden, with Damon Arnett, with Henry Ruggs, with so many things going on off the field, Rich Bisaccia was able to step in, ignore all that noise, and really lead the Raiders to a postseason appearance. And the fact that they hired Josh McDaniels, he could be a very good coach for the Las Vegas Raiders, sure. But this seems like a Jerry Jones kind of hire for Mark Davis. Jerry Jones is known for bringing in those big names. The fact that Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys and Mike McCarthy had those conversations and the media was speculating that Mike McCarthy could lose his job after making the playoffs. Huh? After winning the division. Mike McCarthy in his second year has been talked about losing his job, which does not fathom with me. The fact that those conversations were brought up explains Jerry Jones and how he wants to move on for something shinier and better. And that is the mentality of Mark Davis. Rich Bisaccia made the playoffs as an interim head coach, but you wanted something that was shinier and better. Maybe Josh McDaniels could be a better head coach. I don't know. His track record says otherwise. Didn't really do well with the Denver Broncos. Flaked out on the Indianapolis Colts when he accepted that job. Already, those are red flags. But Mark Davis wants the shinier, better piece that he feels like is better for the Las Vegas Raiders, when in reality, there is no harm in just giving Rich Bisaccia just one full season and seeing what he can do. My take on it. If I'm wrong, if Josh McDaniels ends up being a Super Bowl winning head coach, sure, I'm wrong, I admit. But just this whole situation, I'm just saying, I would have just given Rich Bisaccia just one more year. That's what I would have done. That's your takeaways from this past weekend. Man. Crazy stuff. All right, I'm going to touch base on this. I know that I'm running out of time, but I'm just going to touch base on this because we got to talk about it. We didn't have a chance to talk about this yet. Tom Brady. Okay, so reports this weekend have come out saying that Tom Brady has retired. And then when those reports came out, I was like, really? That's out of the blue. Okay, that's like why this time right now, right before the NFC and the AFC Championship game, I would think that you would want to announce it either going into the Super Bowl or after the Super Bowl. You know, it just doesn't seem like a TB12 Brady brand kind of announcement. But I was like, all right, well, if he's announcing it, he's announcing it. Like, Tom Brady, I'm going to miss him. Like, what a career. What a career. I can't even describe it. And then reports came out an hour later saying that Tom Brady actually, in fact, did not retire. He actually called general manager Jason Light and said, I did not retire. Bruce Arians himself has said, to my knowledge, he didn't retire. Don Yee, his sports agent, has come out and said the inaccuracies and the accuracies, it does not, like, he didn't retire. Tom Brady Sr. has come out and said he did not retire. Tom Brady is on vacation right now. Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, all these respectable NFL insiders are coming out and saying, I stand by my sources. My sources have told me that Tom Brady is retiring. I stand by that. I stand by my reporting that he is going to retire. So, since those guys are kind of respectable, and Brady and Schefter and Rappaport, yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards that maybe he is going to retire. Now, if it's Jason La Canfora, I'm like, yeah, right. Golly, dude, that's the one NFL insider I do not trust. But if it's Schefter, if it's Rappaport, if it's Jay Glazer even, I like Jay Glazer. Like, I stand by that. Like, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can believe that. I can believe that. But anyways, regardless if he's going to be retiring or not, what is the future looking like for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, for Tom Brady? The future for the Bucs specifically, your quarterbacks remaining are Blaine Gabbert. You have Kyle Trask as well, that you drafted at the end of the second round in 2021. Those two guys could be good bridge quarterbacks until you come up with a plan for the future. That's what I would say for Bruce Arians and the Buccaneers moving forward. Blaine Gabbert is actually very well respected by the organization, and they love him. Like, they love what they've seen of him in practice and OTAs and preseason. Like, they think Blaine Gabbert could be a very good quarterback in the NFL. Is he going to be the next Patrick Mahomes? No, he's not. Like, he's had his shot. He was a first-round pick for the Jaguars. Like, it's not going to work out for Blaine Gabbert in the future, in the long run, and being the long-term solution for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But for now, if Tom Brady, in a sudden, retires, that is your plan. That's the worst-case scenario. You are completely fine. Now, what's another scenario for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if Tom Brady were to retire? You could trade for a quarterback, and could you imagine if Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson or whoever may be on the trade market were to come to Tampa Bay. And it could have the same effect, the same exact effect that Brady had on the Bucs in 2020 when he signed. Because when Brady signed, Leonard Fournette wanted to sign, and Ndamukong Suh wanted to accept less money to be on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You had Chris Godwin being willing to resign as well. Shaq Barrett being willing to sign with the defense. So many big pieces. Richard Sherman wanting to sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Rob Gronkowski coming out of retirement. Like, so many guys wanted to come and help Tom Brady win a Super Bowl. That's why a lot of people are saying, like, in 2020, the Super Bowl championship, although impressive for Tom Brady and his age, you got to put like a little asterisk, like, oh man, they brought in a lot. Like, a lot of people wanted to accept less money to go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Could Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or whoever may be coming in as the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have the same exact effect as Tom Brady? Leonard Fournette is going to become a free agent, but if they sign Aaron Rodgers, whoever it may be, trade for Aaron Rodgers, could he be like, oh yeah, let me play for like $2 million for one more year? Could Rob Gronkowski be like, I think I'm going to stay out of retirement. I haven't had a chance to play with Aaron Rodgers. I think this is going to be awesome. I think I can win another Super Bowl. You could have that happen. You could have those kind of things happen. Could Chris Godwin, who's been under some contract disputes with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who's expected to be a free agent, could he be like, yeah, let me accept less money? Like, it's going to be a domino effect if one of those guys were to come into Tampa Bay and take over for Tom Brady. But I think this was, all in all, a reality check for the Buccaneers. Like, hey, maybe he's not retiring, maybe he is, but we got to look forward to the future, and we got to do it now. We draft kind of late in the draft, and this quarterback draft class is not known for having the best potential out there. So that's why, like, if you have a top 5 pick, it's kind of stretching it to draft a quarterback. But if we're drafting in the late 20s at number 30, I'm not exactly sure when they draft, but I believe it's in the late 20s. And a quarterback like Sam Howell from North Carolina falls to us. Kenny Pickett, he's probably going to be gone mid-round or so. Malik Willis, maybe even from Liberty. I don't know where scouts are really ranking him. But if these guys from now until the NFL draft kind of fall in the 20 range, could they draft one of those guys and draft the quarterback of the future and really plan for the future with this Tom Brady scare? So, a couple of questions for you guys. One, do you think Tom Brady is retiring or do you not think he's retiring? And number 2, who do you think is going to be the quarterback if he retires? What is the plan for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers moving forward? Leave your thoughts in your comments down below. I'd love to hear your opinion. My opinion, he might be retiring. If he is, maybe he told like a few people, and one of those guys probably came out and said, yeah, he actually is retiring, and he was just kind of premature. He didn't really want that retirement news to come out that soon. Probably wanted like a whole video or something. Man in the Arena last episode wanted to come out and say, I don't know, that he retired. But yeah, leave your thoughts in your comments down below. I'd love to hear your opinions on Tom Brady. All right, guys. Now we're going to be, now it's time to interact with the live chat. And again, you can go ahead and join us on our Discord server. If you guys want to join us live on air, I'm going to be hanging out in the live chat for the next couple of minutes or so, just interacting with you guys. But if we see someone pop up here on the Discord server, we'll bring you on live on air and then ask for your opinions on anything that we talked about. The Rams, Super Bowl, Bengals Super Bowl, Tom Brady retiring, Josh McDaniels. I'm like, gosh, I'm upset about that. I am so upset about that. It's okay. It doesn't affect me in any way. But yeah, leave your thoughts in your comments down below. Let's see what you guys are saying. Jordan and Papi, for me, it's a win-win Super Bowl. I really want the Rams, but I would love to see Joe Shiesty and Chase get a ring. Yeah, I think all of America agrees with you. I think a lot of people were rooting against the Chiefs just because they want something new and want something fresh. And for some reason, like a lot of people hate Jackson Mahomes. And so a lot of people didn't want to see Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs make the Super Bowl. So, you know, a lot of America is going for Joe Burrow. He's a very likable guy. For Jamar Chase, having that story of like, oh man, a lot of people doubting him, the drops that he had in preseason, and a lot of people saying that he's going to be crap, that he's not going to be good, and having the season that he's having which, by the way, like a lot of people are just freaking hypocrites for like the same people that doubted him are now like rooting for him. I don't know, whatever. I think a lot of people want to see the Cincinnati Bengals fan base win a Super Bowl as well, not winning a Super Bowl ever in their history and not being to a Super Bowl since 1989. I think it's time for the Cincinnati Bengals to kind of make that push and winning a Super Bowl. And then for Stafford as well, for his story, being on the Detroit Lions for 12 years and now having the chance of winning a Super Bowl. I think it's a win-win for a lot of America. So I can't tell you who my pick is yet. I haven't done a lot of research. I'm not going to get into that until Super Bowl week. But the Rams do start off as -4 favorites against the Bengals. And that could change. That could change depending on injuries and things of that nature. But yeah, this is a win-win for America. And it should be a good game. It's Rams' house or whose house? Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. Chris W. saying, I will only believe it if he says it himself. Talking about Tom Brady. Same here. That's why I was kind of confused on why. Like, there was TV12 on Instagram. I think they announced it, but I don't think they heard that word officially from Tom Brady. I think they just kind of run their social media based off themselves and just, hey, we heard that Tom Brady retired, so we're going to post about it. And they kind of took down the post right after that. But, yeah, that's the news on Tom Brady. Random Fun Generator, who's actually made an appearance in Spider-Man. Actually, as a matter of fact, I don't know if you remember the scene where there was a man shoveling snow in the new Spider-Man movie. That is actually this guy, Random Fun Generator, commenting down below. I am not even kidding. So if you guys are big Marvel fans, Random Fun Generator, watch out for him. He's saying, I think he's got one more year in him. I think so as well. I think age 45 is the cutoff, and he's not going to turn 45 until August 23rd. That's his birthday, and I remember that for some reason. I don't know why. But that's his birthday, and he's going to be 45 years old. I think he wants to play out one more year. He's got one more year left on his contract, and then call it quits. So I don't know if he's going to be retiring or not. I don't know if his family wants him to retire, but 45 is a magic number for him. Let's see if you guys are joining us in the Discord. You guys are not, but that's okay. I'll hang out for probably another minute or so, and then we will put a cap on this episode of Time2Football. Yeah. Rams-Bengals, man. Rams-Bengals. Should be a very good Super Bowl. What's planned for Time2Football? Actually, I'll go ahead and announce this. Is we're working with the NFL right now. We're emailing them back and forth on getting credentials to interview players via Zoom. So you're going to have the opportunity to see your favorite Cincinnati Bengals, your favorite Los Angeles Rams getting interviewed during Super Bowl week. All throughout the week, we'll be interviewing players and releasing interviews on our YouTube channel, as well as we'll be coming out with hype videos right now. Right now, I'm working on a hype video for the Cincinnati Bengals, and then hopefully that'll come out in the next day or two, depending on how fast and how much time I want to put into this video. We've got Eric Martis saying, if the Cincinnati Bengals win it, will an awesome combat, especially for Joe. Hold on, I'm trying to get... If the Cincinnati Bengals win, it will be an awesome comeback, especially for Joe, since he injured himself last year. Gotcha. Yeah. Could he be comeback player of the year? Now, when they vote for this, like MVP, comeback player of the year, all the stuff, they vote for this preseason or pre-postseason. So prior to the playoffs. So the playoffs doesn't affect anything because a lot of people could be like, oh, Aaron Rodgers isn't the MVP anymore. It should be like Cooper Kupp, who's made it to the Super Bowl. A lot of people are like, oh, Joe Burrow could be comeback player of the year. No, they vote for this stuff prior to the postseason. So I don't know if Joe Burrow is going to be comeback player of the year. I don't know what other candidates there are. But, yeah, there should be Joe Burrow should be in the conversation for that, as well as his head coach. Zach Taylor should be in the running for head coach of the year. I'm going to go ahead and sign off right here for this episode of Time2Football, but I'm very appreciative that you guys were able to join us for this episode. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff that's happened this past week. And Tom Brady, I have no idea what the heck is going on with his future. I have no idea what's going on with Rich Bisaccia. Should have been the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Whatever. Bigger focus, though. Bigger focus on what matters the most. Rams Bengals, Super Bowl 56, 13 days. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for future episodes, especially tomorrow.